Good morning, Sergeants. This is Sergeant Hofelds. Today we will be conducting individual training. Before we get started, I'm going to pass around a sign-in roster, and I would like everybody to start filling that out. And while they are doing that, we are going to go ahead and conduct a PCC of our equipment today. So does everybody have an ACH? Good. What about some iPro? Does everybody have a flick or vest? How about a water source? Very good. And what about some ID cards? Or ID tags and a CAT card? Very good. How about pen and writing utensils? Yeah, so it's really important that everybody has pen and writing utensils so that we can take notes, right? This is going to be a really important training brief today. So now that we have everybody in the correct gear, let's begin. The task today will be to perform voice communications in accordance with STP 21-1-SMCT 113-COM-1022. You can find that in your Warrior Skills Level 1 book that everybody should have. The condition today is that you are going to be given one radio. It will be operational and you'll have a separate set for each member. It'll be warmed up and it will be set to the net frequency. You'll be given a call sign information card on a 5x8 that is consisting of net member duty positions, either S1 or S2, a net call sign, which is going to be in a letter sequence, a suffix list for the net control station, which will be 46, S1 will be 39, and S2 will be 13 respectively, and a message to be transmitted. And make sure that that message is between 15 and 25 words, correct? So, the situation today, the net is considered to be secure and authentication is not required. And this task may have as many net members as there is equipment available. Each net member must have a different suffix and a message to transmit. So today we have Private Stuffy, who's going to be helping us with his little radio, and we have a radio here that's all been set up for us to perform this task. The standard for today is to perform this voice communication by entering and leaving the net in an alphanumeric sequence using the correct pro words, phonetic alphabet, and numerals that result in successful communication of the message. And before we conduct that training, we're just going to go over some environmental considerations. The overall risk assessment today is going to be low, right? We are in an indoor environment, so there's not too many things to be concerned about, but you'll want to keep in mind any slips, trips, and falls, right? That includes cords, pets, and children. And don't forget, soldiers, that dehydration is still a thing. So make sure you are drinking a lot of water to not only satisfy your thirst, but to stay hydrated. Excellent. So we're trying to stay green as well. And we are wanting to remind all of you to recycle, reduce, and reuse. And any trash that we create today is going to need to be packed out, right? We're going to leave this environment cleaner than how we found it. And this training is going to be unclassified. Some skills to go over before we begin this training. We're using the phonetic alphabet and numbers for transmitting our messages. They are going to be as follows: Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, Echo, Foxtrot, Golf, Hotel, India, Juliet, Kilo, Lima, Mike, November, Oscar, Papa, Quebec, Romeo, Sierra, Tango, Uniform, Victor, Whiskey, X-Ray, Yankee, and Zulu. And for the numbers, it's going to be 0, 1, 2, tree, flower, 5, 6, 7, 8, niner. And for decimals, you would say decimal, For 100, it'd just be 100, and for 1,000, it's going to be 1,000. Excellent. And for keeping our transmissions as short as possible, we're going to be using some procedure words or pro words. And some of the ones that we'll be using today will be routine, Wilco, break, over, and out. Routine means that our message is standard. It's not urgent. We don't need a medevac. Nobody has blown their legs off. Wilco means I understand, and it's combining Roger and I'll do that command. Wilco. Break is breaking up a sentence that's too long. We have somebody on the other end of the radio who's recording everything we say, so we need to make sure that they can capture all of that verbatim. And over is when we are done with a message, we say over, so that the other end of the radio line knows that we are done speaking. And out is when we are done with the message entirely. The only person that can say out is the person who initiated the message. And we'll be following a pattern of, hey you, this is me, over. And remember to pause to give that NCS time to write the transmission information. So now that we've gone over some of those necessary skills, I'm going to be giving you a step-by-step explanation, followed by demonstrating the task, and you will then be given time to practice that task to standard before we begin our evaluations. Immediately following training and the practice time, you will be evaluated today on an individual basis in order to receive an overall go or no-go for the task. To receive a go on each of the performance steps that are evaluated, you need to get a go to get 100%. You'll be evaluated one at a time in this room. So the performance measures are to 1. Enter into the net. Determine the abbreviated call sign and answering sequence, your position of duty, responding to the NCS issuing a net call and answer in the alphanumeric sequence. And all that is going to be found on the cards that you're going to be provided during your evaluation. The second thing that we're going to need a go on is to send an actual message. You're going to listen and make sure that the net is clear. Do not interrupt any ongoing communications. And then you're going to call the NCS and tell the operator the priority of the message, routine, or urgent, something along those lines, and then you're going to give them the message that's going to be 15 to 25 words long, and they're going to receive a response from NCS that they are ready to receive, send your message, and using the correct pro words and pronunciations of the letters and numbers, then you're going to get a receipt for that message. And the last step, number 3, is to leave the net in the alphanumeric sequence that you were given at the beginning, and answering in that alphanumeric sequence, you'll receive a call from the NCS who will issue you to close down order. And to that, you will say, Wilco. Wilco out. During this class, we will learn the skills you need to perform voice communication using the phonetic alphabet and numerals. I will now demonstrate the task at full speed, and after that, you will have time to practice this task to standard before we begin evaluations. I will perform a communication check to ensure that the radio is operational. Using the first scenario, I will demonstrate how to enter the net using the abbreviated call signs and answering sequence based on my position. Next, I will send a message in that 15 to 25 word long and make sure that the net is clear and I'm not interrupting any ongoing communications. And last but not least, I will leave the net after the NCS issues a close down order using the same alphanumeric sequence. This will be completed all within 5 minutes. Did everyone hear that? You have 5 minutes to complete this. While out picking up rations in an LMTV, the tire rolls off. Oh no, what are we gonna do? There are 2 soldiers in the vehicle, it's a Heat Cat 4, and luckily no one was hurt, But now we're going to have to, you guessed it, make a radio call to NCS. We're going to probably need some recovery and support. That LMTV has some milk in it, right? And we need to get it back to the matrix and get it refrigerated before all that milk spoils. So, Sierra 1, Echo. Oh, it wasn't on. Very good. Echo Fower 6, this is Echo Tree Niner, routine over.
Echo Tree Niner, this is Echo Fower 6, over.
From Echo Tree Niner to Echo Fower 6, break. Unclassified at 0900 Zulu, recovery and support is needed for LMTV, over.
Echo Tree Echo, this is Echo Fower 6, roger. Close down, over.
Echo Fower 6, this is Echo Tree Niner, Wilco, out. Remember when we are transmitting that it has to be clear, complete, and concise messages. And whenever possible, make sure to write them down beforehand so you know what you're going to say. Today, we've already provided most of that information for you on these cards. And we're going to make sure that, again, we're speaking clearly, slowly, in natural phrases as you enunciate each word, and in receiving the operator on the other end, remember they're writing down everything we're saying, right? So we need to give them a little bit of time to write that down. So to use ProWords is essential in reducing our transmission time and avoiding any confusion. And minimize your transmission time, because remember, we only have 5 minutes. That's correct. So just remember, we're never going to violate our radio silence. We're not going to make any unnecessarily long sentences, and we're not going to engage in any unofficial conversations. Don't show that you've lost your temper, and don't use any profane language, because remember, this is a professional communication. This is not your cell phone. Oh, hey buddy, how's it going? This is the radio, and you are talking to somebody on the command side for supplies, for medevac, for important things, right? So now you will have some time for practice. I'm going to make myself available to answer any questions, as well as walk around and give my feedback. Once the practice is complete, we will move on to the assessment time. All right, great job, guys. It seems like most of you are getting the hang of it. That's really good. So we're going to continue on now that we've practiced those skills to performing our voice communications using that phonetic alphabet and numerals. So you'll be evaluated. Here are your messages and call signals. Your radio is already ready for operation. The net is considered to be secure, and authentication is not required. You will send your message to the NCS and get a receipt. If sufficient progress in completing the task within 5 minutes has not been demonstrated, you will receive a no-go for this task. And you don't want that. You don't want to have to come back here and retrain, right, soldiers? So the task today, again, we will be conducting perform voice communications in accordance with STP 21-1-SMCT 113-COM-1022. The standard is to perform voice communications by entering and leaving the net in alphanumeric sequence and use of correct ProWords, phonetic alphabet, and numerals that result in a successful communication of the message. The performance measures are to 1. Enter the net, 2. Send a message, and 3. Leave the net in alphanumeric sequence. Your scenario is going to be during a field exercise. the platoon sergeant realizes that their exercise was running late. They're not going to make it back for chow. So your job is to call in on the radio on NCS requesting mermites for 20 soldiers. The first soldier will execute the task, and based on their performance measures, I will record the results, and then I will continue on to assess everyone else in the squad using those same performance measures. Do we have any questions before we begin? All right. Private Stuffy, you are up. Well, Private Stuffy, that wasn't very good. You definitely went over the 5 minutes, so let's continue on to the next soldier. All the soldiers in my squad have now been assessed. We had 1 soldier fail. And I will determine the task proficiency, and let's see. Go, 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 no go, go. Well, we needed 100% to ensure that we didn't have to do a retraining and reevaluation. And since we did not meet that, we're going to have to schedule a retraining. So that will be conducted at 07:30 on October 19th in classroom 4-2. The uniform will be the same in OCPs with your ACH, your iPro, your Flick, and we're also going to make sure that you have gloves for that exercise as well, right? And a water source. Excellent. And that reevaluation will be conducted after lunch that same day at 1300 in the same room in the same uniform. Now that our training is complete, let's account for all of our equipment, right? Do we have our radios? And what about our cards? Ooh, I guess Private Stuffy didn't realize we had to keep the card, so Private Stuffy accidentally threw his card away. When you're given materials, guys, make sure that you're returning those materials back to the trainer, the instructor, right? At least we have all the radios accounted for, and those were our sensitive items. So that's good. Let's check our gear. Does everyone have their ACHs? What about their iPro? Very good. And does everybody have their gloves still? Good. And what about their Flicks? Excellent. And before we go, we're just going to do a quick lineup and do a police call around the room to ensure that we're leaving this classroom better than the way we found it, right? And before our after action review, we're gonna take a look at our DA form 2977, which was our risk assessment. And on block 14, I'm going to be writing that all controls were effective, leading to a successful training exercise. Because, right guys, we completed our task, no one was injured, no one fell out due to dehydration, which is great, and there were no issues overall, right? Lastly, for our AAR, what was supposed to happen? We were supposed to perform voice communications in accordance with 113-com-1022. What actually happened? Yeah, that's right. Very good. And what went right? Those are some very good points. What went wrong? Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Very good. And how can this training be improved for next time? Excellent. Great job, everyone, today. You did excellent. This concludes my training session. You are now released for the rest of the day. Don't forget our scheduled training tomorrow morning. Thank you.